Czech Games Edition, not just the home of the famed board game innovator Vlade Chvátil, but also a publisher that has somehow managed to capture the ethos of the 90s in a cardboard box. Whether it's Civilization the board game, a romanticized version of truck driving, or what is pretty much the cardboard version of Dungeon Keeper, you can be sure that CGE will unearth something from Kurt Cobain's decade that we have managed to forget and bring it right to the forefront of our table. I hear their next game is Four Non-Blondes, the card game. But their latest project has us blasted with the biggest nostalgia trip of them all, harkening back my misspent youth, faking up a rampage at an internet cafe, wishing all that time that I was better at the rocket launcher than that one guy who was really good at it. I just could never beat him. These days, however, I am a grown-up and don't really play first-person shooter games anymore. Okay, just one more round of Overwatch, and then I'll go to bed. Just one more round. Oh god, it's 3 AM. I should go to bed. I'll just play Doom for a little bit. In Adrenaline, you will play one of the 5 characters who are functionally identical at the start of the game. They haplessly spawn at one of the 3 spawn points at the board, pick up a weapon, and...
Hang on a second. I need to tell you about the weapons in Adrenaline because they are sublimely funny and over the top and exactly what you would expect, ranging from something so obvious like a rocket launcher that, yes, does let you rocket jump, to flamethrowers that set everything alight in a straight line, to something called a cyberblade that will let you slash, dash, and slash again. Weapons in Adrenaline are cool and what they should be. Now that we've got that covered, back to the rules.
And try to shoot the first thing they see. Why? Well, because shooting people in this game makes points. And what do points make? Have the most points at the end of the game and you are the winner. Each time you deal damage, you'll put your color blood drops onto your victim's player board. As soon as their track is filled up, they're killed and their player board is scored. The player with the most blood drops gets 8 points, second most gets 6, and so on. The player who scored the first blood drop gets an extra point for first blood, and the player who scored the kill shot will get their blood drop moved to a special track, marking their achievement and scoring extra points at the end of the game for having more kill shots than others. Plus, there's some rules for overkilling things because why wouldn't there be? Which makes this game the nicest and fairest multiplayer shooter simulation of them all, because damage is pretty much points. You want to get your blood drops across as many different player boards as possible, and even though you are not scoring the majority 8 points, you always still want to score the kill shot because A, you'll be scoring some points anyway, and B, because the kill shot blood drop replaces this very adorable, yet very metal, yet very much plastic, but still translucent skull. And that is pretty much like a kill shot track that also signifies when the game ends. But more importantly, that skull then goes onto the dead player's player board, indicating that on their next death, they will be worth less points. And because dying isn't really that big of a deal at all in this game, it kind of plays out like a Shakespearean version of a Wes Anderson movie. Every good board game needs 3 things: lights, camera, and actions. And in Adrenaline you have exactly 3 actions, and they are marked on this little addendum to your player board. You can move 3 spaces, you can move and grab something, or you can just shoot something, anything really. But more importantly, to shoot something, you need to have a weapon card and it has to be loaded in your hand. Once you do shoot someone, you play a card and you discharge your ammo, meaning it's no longer effective until you are reloading it at the end of the round. But to reload it, you need to have the ammo on your player board. There are 3 types of ammo: red, blue, and yellow, and you are limited to 3 of each of them at any given go, meaning you can't really stock up on ammo and just go around mowing everyone down with your railgun. No, sometimes you'll need to spend your actions to actually grab that ammo, and more importantly, because you only have 2 actions any given turn that you can do, and you can choose out of any of them, and they can be the same action twice, meaning, yes, you can shoot someone 2 times in a row if you really set yourself up, But if you waste all your actions just shooting things, you will eventually be forced to just do nothing on your other turns, which can be grueling and not that much fun. Each turn the game promises a decision. Use up all your resources, gleefully dishing out barrels of pain, or actually save up some of your ammo so you have something to reload your weapon with for next turn. The game constantly forces you to ask yourself one question. Do I feel like managing my resources and utilizing my actions? Well, do ya, punk? No, you don't need that. Who needs any of that? This game's called Adrenaline. You want to run, kill, shoot, and kill, and get blown to bits. Everybody in Adrenaline wants to get blown to bits, and that's because when you fill up your player board with other players' blood drops, you will have your actions upgraded. So instead of moving one space and grabbing something, you can now move 2 spaces and grab something. Okay, maybe that one's not so exciting, but once you fill it up even more, instead of just shooting someone, you can move 1 space and shoot someone. Okay, maybe the game's title is a bit of a misnomer, but that doesn't mean that these actions, whilst not very exciting, aren't useful at all, because you'll often find that when you do have them upgraded, you'll find that situation where having that one extra little bit of movement will actually let you go and punch everything you ever wanted to punch with a power fist. Adrenaline faultlessly succeeds at 2 things. A, it is a ridiculously accurate representation of the many feelings and elements of first-person shooter games. Of course, it is not in first person, but I'm yet to conceptualize how a board game would actually achieve that. It is wild, chaotic, and opportunistic, but because it doesn't have any of the inelegant elements of games like dice, it is still measured and precise. To win Adrenaline, you have to have skill. And B, it is an undeniably fun experience. Adrenaline will make you laugh when you realize what your opponents are about to do, even though the target is you. But at the same time, it will make you appreciate the decisions you make yourself when you fire that Thor cannon and it successfully chains across multiple enemies. But Adrenaline is not a perfect game. I mean, no game is. However, Adrenaline does make you feel like you've had a good time, but not as great of a time as you wish you would have had. And that's because the movement never offers up very interesting decisions. That's because the board is very small, there's always plenty of targets, and the vast variety of weapons guarantees that there's always something useful you can do. And in those rare occasions where you are nowhere useful, you have these power-up cards that will let you teleport pretty much anywhere, and over the course of the game, I'll guarantee that you will find at least 1 teleporter card and save it for that occasion. Okay, Adrenaline is not completely bereft of interesting movement decisions, but the choices are so plentiful that that element of the game never feels particularly challenging. You will never find me saying that I did not enjoy myself playing Adrenaline. It's just that I didn't enjoy myself as much as I expected to. Felt like my enthusiasm was curbed a little bit just because Adrenaline tries to be so nice to everyone involved, and that is a good thing, and I appreciate it. It feels like a very Eurogame version of Wizwar, which was a game about wizards dueling each other for no particular reason and flinging the most random nonsensical spells that you could imagine. This is that, just more friendly and more cohesive, and because of that I feel like Adrenaline lacks this tactical element that you would expect from a first-person shooter simulation. But then if it was, it would be a completely different game. I guess what I'm saying is, I had a good time with Adrenaline. I'm glad I own a copy. And I think you'll have a good time with Adrenaline too. Just don't expect that excitement to be all the way up to 11. Expect it to be more like an 8. And on a final note, never play this game with 5 players because it doesn't feel exciting to wait all that time for your turn to come up. And when it does come up, let's just say it feels a bit like you're an Englishman standing in a queue waiting for your bus to arrive, because buses are exciting. Everyone knows that double-deckers are just a riot. Do you know what else is a riot? All those audio issues. Thank you so much for persevering and watching the entire video. If you enjoyed it, you should probably give another one of our videos a go over there,
or listen to our new podcast with my friend John. After you're done doing all those things, you should probably hit the subscribe button because you've clearly enjoyed our channel and should watch some more. It's good.